it was scary even to experience. And, you've had your partner, your wife, who's been such a big part of your journey.
Yeah.
You've spoken about her music. Like, she's been such a supporting figure. Obviously, she loves you. That's without a doubt. And you love her. But what do you think has allowed her to be a supportive and helpful partner during this time? And how have you tried to help her help you?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you may have got it wrong, sometimes, but tell me a bit about what she's done exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And then when you've helped her help you in an exceptional way, but then sometimes when maybe you haven't helped the situation.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
My wife is amazing. She's a big fan of you. She's super excited.
She should have come today.
She's
not here.
She's directing a music video, actually, so
Okay.
she's in the midst of planning for that.
Well, tell her I send my love.
I definitely
I'll
will.
Send a gift. We'll have to send something with you for
Yeah,
this.
she's a massive fan. So it's cool to talk about her. She's she's my best friend. She's amazing. She I think first and foremost, I was in rehab in 2008, and I had been with her for, since 2006. So we're, a couple years into a relationship, and she was supposed to come up and visit me in rehab, and all the families show up. The commencement of group therapy starts. My, at the time, girlfriend wasn't there, and she had ended up getting arrested on the way up. She was still drunk from the night before. After that, she never went to treatment. She did some 12-step work, but she has never used since. And she was definitely, one of us, like one of me, an addict and an alcoholic, and never had that off switch. But the way that she has shown up for me is that she has stayed clean and for herself, first and foremost, foundational level. And we just celebrated last Friday her 14 years
Wow.
of sobriety, and I got to watch her take her coin, go up to the front of the meeting in front of 100 people and take her coin, and she's all nervous, and I have tears in my eyes, and I'm just like, this is my person. I'm rooting for her more than anything, to be clean and to be healthy, and it's something. And she has done something that I haven't been able to do, which is continuously stay clean. And it's a complex question, like, how do I help her help me? The one thing about the disease of addiction is that it is insidious, and that when I am in active addiction, it starts before I actually pick up the first drink or drug. It starts slowly, and it creeps, and it escalates, and it starts telling me, you know what? No one's around. No one's going to know. You can do that. All of a sudden, I'm in self-will. I'm not in God's will anymore. I'm in self-will. What do I want? And that selfishness rises and rises and rises. And it can start with simple things, just like, you deserve that. Like, go ahead, buy that. Omit that. These little ways that it just starts creeping, getting louder. And for me, all of a sudden, it leads me to this place of none of that works. Like, material possession to feel happy does not work for me. Like, go ahead, get another watch. Go ahead, get that jacket, get those shoes. Do that, have that experience. You deserve it. It doesn't spiritually fulfill me. So now I'm on empty in the spiritual tank, and I'm reaching for anything. Come on, more. How do I fill this void, this God-sized hole? What do I do with this? And eventually I start to think, a drink or a drug sounds like the best idea, because I hate myself. Now, how can I help my wife help me in those moments? It's counterintuitive, because when I'm in active addiction and the disease is talking to me, I don't want to tell anybody. The disease is like, don't tell her. No, she doesn't care. The lies, the lies that I'm telling to myself in order to act out are getting increasingly loud. It's a very, I probably sound crazy right now, but it's,
you're educating.
That's how the disease works for me. And I think unless you have the disease, and maybe it sounds crazy, but that's actually the narrative that's slowly happening, whether I'm conscious or unconscious, in my head, to get me to the point of hating myself enough that a drink or a drug sounds like the best solution. So I have to tell her, I have to be honest. And she has seen enough relapses at this point that she's like, dude, what are you doing? You're in self-will right now. When was the last time that you called your sponsor? When have you got outside of self? When have you done something in your recovery community? Why don't you go to a meeting? She holds me accountable even when I don't want to be held accountable. And usually I can tell because she'll say something. And if I'm naturally defensive, if I'm like, no, you don't know what I'm doing, usually I'm like, okay, she's got a pulse. She knows me very well. And she's trying to help you, dude. Like, if she says, sometimes she can misread the room, and I can completely hold that space and listen to her and be like, I understand that I could be doing better in these categories, but I'm actually feeling pretty good right now. And I welcome that from people in my life. Like, I think part of addiction is that it has to be secret. Even you talk about 10 years ago with this depression that you're like, I feel like I had to be okay. I had to be fine. I had to tell people I was fine. And there's this secrecy with addiction that we can't talk about it. That when those thoughts come in, or in recovery, and I'm like, I'm a person in recovery. I have to be like, holding up these pillars, and now I'm a public figure in recovery and I need to be, it's like, dude, I am just like everyone else, completely fallible and so far from who I want to be. But the more people that I can talk to, where I'm not a secret, that is when I share my truth and it opens up a platform for other people too, or when they share their truth, all of a sudden I feel comfortable in the space to tell mine. The disease dissipates.
And by the way, you don't, in your words, don't sound crazy at all. Actually, I feel like you're educating us and enlightening us on what's going on inside. And so actually I'm learning a lot, and I appreciate it a lot, because I don't think we only watch these. If it doesn't happen to us, you only watch it from the outside.
Right.
And you have no idea what the dialogue in someone's mind is. And so hearing what dialogue you've had in your mind is massively illuminating, because like you referred to mine, I agree with that on so many levels. And that wasn't even addiction. That was a form of depression that I was experiencing and couldn't vocalize it. What to speak of something when you're going through addiction. And I couldn't agree with you more that whether it's something tiny or whether it's something huge, if we don't talk about it, you actually never learn. Like I had a very non-life-threatening surgery recently. Like, it's pretty routine, it's inconvenient, but it's not like, it's not, I'm not going to, die from it. Like, that's not what kind of surgery it is. And me even just telling some of my friends about that, I found out a quarter of my friends have had that surgery but never told me. Like, no one ever talks about it. And I know it's not a big deal, but the point is that knowing that they'd had it and knowing that they'd been through the surgery and knowing that they'd recovered, or knowing where they'd had struggles was useful. What to speak of addiction or something that's far more detrimental to your health and well-being. I can totally understand why being able to share that